To come out of any addiction, you have to know that any heroism belongs to one, and that is God. The great truth of the angels is unity, oneness, wholeness, and fullness with self. Every person is created in the image and likeness of God. This principle is fundamental in our quest for the truth of healing our disease in question, and which is addiction, and of course is taming addiction and releasing our full potential. Henceforth, it is in oneness that we can experience health and revival from the breathtaking addiction and an overall great health. It is in separation that we experience suffering, lack, addiction, limitation of any kind that transfers to any addiction scenario. The breathtaking disease of addiction is here now to be explained in quite a better perspective. The breaking that we are talking about is the separation of self from reality, and this is what brings about addiction. Every person is builded and formed in the image of one. The word religion is a great word which means to bind together again. So once you call yourself religious, you have to know this. It is therefore implies about togetherness, how we ought to live to eliminate challenges in life. Love is the overall unquestionable healer of addiction. Not believing in that is losing a very important nut to put yourself or a loved one in order. We find all these evidences in the stories were narrated in the Old Testament, which many people read but very few understand. The story of the Old Testament is a story of going out and coming back again and experiencing prosperity. These teachings were at the center of Jesus' teaching when he always said that I and the Father are one. This was fundamental principle of Jesus' teaching. Each person should understand his or her relationship with the whole person, the whole body, and the whole self. These words are for everyone who hears them, and you and each and everyone who wants a better life. The story is narrated in the parable of the prodigal son, which to me sounds like the summation of all the teachings of Jesus. Allow me to retell you the story. A certain man had two sons. The younger son demanded his inheritance. After being given his fair share, he went to a far country where he spent all his fortunes. After all the inheritance vanishes, he is reduced automatically to a position of slavery until he decides to go as low as eating with swine. When you encounter some challenges like addiction, you have to change your consciousness. The prodigal son did when things got dead serious. He eventually came to himself, to a higher awareness and wholeness, consciousness. He came to the realization that even the servants in his father's household ate better than he did. This is quite interesting. He said, I will rise and go back to my father's house, even if to be one of his servants. After he arrives, his father and is so happy to a point that he arranges a great festivity in honor of his return. He was showered with a lot of blessings for coming back. Meanwhile, in this story, there is a point often left out. The older son, the prodigal son's brother, who never